Hello YouTube and welcome to Go Girl Gaming as we explore housing in the Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online just introduced housing into its game. They did so in early February of 2016. It is now early April of 2017. So we've been go live in the housing system in ESO for about 2 months now. I have been playing ESO before that. I got interested in it again. I actually did the beta on Elder Scrolls Online and then was actually very heavy into other games at the time. So I just did the beta and then just kind of put it on the back shelf until they announced that they were going to introduce housing. And that piqued my interest. So my friend and I started playing Elder Scrolls Online about I'd say December, maybe January, so that we would not only be familiar with the game but also have a good head start on getting the money together to buy a house that we might be interested in. So we did that, and even though we had started ahead of time, it still did take us a little bit of time, extra time, to purchase a decent house. We ended up purchasing the same house actually, and I believe it would probably be equatable to a tier 3. I'm not 100% sure on that, but to my current understanding, there is the first house, which is basically a teeny tiny in room, and I will show you that. That house is free, you just have to do a quest. Then there are apartments, then there are small houses, medium houses, large houses, and then I believe that there is an extra tier of basically humongous slash specialty houses. I don't think they lump the humongous specialty houses together with the large houses. I could be wrong. So that's where I'm a little shaky because, for example, I took a look at a what would be a manor house not too long ago, maybe a week or so ago, over in Daggerfall called the Overlook, and it was over $3 million in game. You do have 3 million gold coins rather in game. The house that I purchased that I will actually show you also in game currency talking about was around 75,000 gold. It has an indoor and an outdoor. It's a decent sized house. It's not huge, but it's a nice house. And again, it has an inside and an outside. Very homey. We liked it. That's why we both purchased ourselves one. And in our opinion, it was a reasonable price. I did like the $3 million gold house that I saw, but again, it was 3 million gold, and that takes time. And I'm still not 100% sure at this point if I would even buy a house that large, and I'll get into that, into more of why or why not in a little bit. Now where I am right now actually is in Cold Harbor because they have this Zanil here in the background that says luxury furniture, and I'm here because he only shows up on the weekends and he has a rotating inventory. So I always make it a point to come here on the weekends to see what he has. It's usually not cheap, but the only thing about the luxury, about any of these furnitures, peoples, is that you can't preview them. EQ2, you could preview everything. That would be a very nice and welcome addition to ESO, being able to preview stuff before you buy it in game. I mean, I could go offline somewhere and probably find this stuff, but in game would be very much appreciated. You can preview stuff that you have the recipe for, but as far as previewing just out and out furniture you can buy, and there's not a whole lot of that, by the way. But previewing stuff like this that you can actually buy, not seen a way to do that. So that would be a welcome addition. Again, a lot of their stuff is expensive, and if you're familiar with ESO, you know that these colorings indicate a perceived quality. Now, when you're actually crafting, let's say you're crafting your own armor, that really does have meaning to it. It basically goes gray, green, blue, purple, orange. So it's like normal, good, great, epic, legendary. That's basically the levels. But when it comes to the home furnishings, the only thing that I've noticed that the purple versus blue versus green indicates is price in some cases, mostly price. I would say in most cases it's price. So you're going to pay higher for a purple than you are for a blue or white or gray, I should say. And the other difference, particularly if you are crafting, so if you get a purple recipe or a blue recipe, it's the type of mats and the number of mats that indicate that that you can tell that it is a higher quality item, as opposed to it being pretty per se. Because there are some purples that you look at and go, really, that's a purple? Interesting. But it is, so there you go. So today I'm not going to get any of this stuff. And ocean antler coral, I'd have to go look that up online to see if it might be anything. Fishing pole rack, I could have sworn, no, they didn't do this last week. This is different than last week, so that's nice. So you can get a somewhat of an idea. It's fishing poles on a rack, particularly if you've been out in the game. Dock winch and an anchor. And I'm not sure if they mean like the anchors that pull you to Cold Harbor or anchor on a boat. So that would be something to investigate. I'm kind of curious about the ocean antler coral, but not enough to buy it. I definitely would go and try and find it online first. So that particular housing, and the reason why I came here to Cold Harbor is because that particular vendor, I don't know if I already said it, that particular vendor only shows up on the weekends, and he has a rotating inventory. So I always make it a point to come here on Saturday or Sunday to see what he has. And I have bought things from him. Some of the things I've bought I will show you because I do have them in my house. Some of them I'm actually going to put in my alt's house because up until the last couple of weeks, the style that particular furniture has been red guard. And I have a red guard now, so I'm saving those for her house as opposed to my dark elf here. Then all of the cities have a home goods furniture. Unfortunately, their stock does not vary a whole heck of a lot. It's basically the same stuff, but there are on occasions a few things that you can find that are a little bit different. But let's have a look anyway.
Without something to make your guest's skin crawl.
Now the funny part is he talks this stuff, but he has the same junk everybody else has. Block wood cutting, and a lot of this that's kind of off-putting as far as I'm concerned is cheap. Yes, 100 gold is cheap. It's cheap, but it's a lot of it is more outside. It's outside and storage stuff and plants. Like this wood cutting block, it's like a tree stump that you would split logs on. The rough block stone slab. This is all outdoor stuff, and you can basically get this stuff from any of the housing vendors in any of the cities. Like I said, there are a few things that you can sometimes find. I know that from one of the vendors I got a small clothesline, which I don't see here. But for the most part, they all sell pretty much the same stuff. Now, one thing I have noticed on this guy is he doesn't have any plants. A lot of the other, and I'll show you briefly the one in Brifton, she does have quite a few plants, which again, considering that a lot of the houses, particularly the beginner houses, don't have it outside, and these are not indoor plants, it seems a little silly that the first few things that you can actually buy are for outside. It doesn't make any sense. Exceptions being like this rough stool and the tea table, both of which you actually have to purchase for the starter quest for housing. Then last but not least, there's the accolade furniture. Basically, when you go to and I'll show you, like I said, in Riften, this will be your like achievement furniture, and they all have different things depending on what you did in that zone. So you can only buy stuff from him if you've completed certain quests in the zones. And in Cold Harbor I did, so I can buy anything from him if I have the gold. So here you see the orange indicating that it's like legendary. I did buy the Light of Meridia. That's the only thing I bought here for 10,000, and I'll show you that and it's a purple. And I'll show you that in my house, and then you can make the call on whether or not you think it is epic or not. The rest of this, like a Moloch Bog Banner, Shackle Control Stone, Cowering Statue, Cold Harbor Chandelier. I thought about that, but then I was like, a lot of the things in Cold Harbor aren't terribly attractive. So 25,000 for a chandelier, I don't think so. And then the Alien Throne wasn't impressive. I believe I saw it in the in the like kind of church thingy where they were in the Fighters Guild, where they were planning the attack and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't impressed, so did not take a look at that one. But I did, like I said, I did buy the Light of Meridia, and you'll be able to see it. It's epic and 10,000 gold, and you can judge for yourself whether or not you think it was worth 10,000 gold. So here we are back in Riften, and I am standing next to the home goods furniture. So I will show
Forget
you
about need.
what she has. So as I was indicating, again, see the blackwood cutting, boulder flatwood weather. This is all outdoor stuff, all of it, and a couple of some flowers. Again, the one consistent thing that I've found with all of them that I've looked for is like the rough firewood stack, some outdoor stuff, although that varies a little bit, the tea table carved, and the rough stool round. And I believe that the rough stool round and the tea table carved are, every vendor has them because it's part of the quest. Everything else pretty much varies, but not really by much. So it does pay to go and check out the different vendors in the different cities, especially since you can, doesn't matter what pack or what group you belong to, you can go and talk to any of the housing vendors. I can tell you that this one does not have a couple things that I've bought from other just normal housing vendors, but none of it, and you can just see that based solely on the price. It's not that terribly impressive anyway. Your best bet is to get as many recipes as you possibly can, and as many materials to do the crafting, and do it that way, in my opinion. So that is the, and again, every city has one. The other thing every city will have that at least has a home goods furniture is for that every city in a zone. So you're gonna have a city that has, every city in a zone will have a home goods furniture, an achievement furniture, and a mystic. So those are the three home furniture you can buy from. All of the vendors that have to do with crafting also sell things, but they all sell the same thing, and it's all related to their particular. So for example, the carpenter sells woodworking things, the blacksmith sells blacksmithing things, and I'll show you a couple of examples of that. But they all sell the same thing. and it's mostly recipes, a couple of what I would term odd items, and that's it. And the recipes, in my opinion, are not impressive at all. But there you go. So we're going to talk to the achievement furniture here.
A reputation clings to a...
So for the Rift, because that's where I'm at, I'm in Riften. They sell the ancient call, and it's basically related to the quest, because one of the reasons why it's an achievement vendor is because you did quests, and in the quest that you did, you accomplished certain things, and these are basically trophies. Last but not least is the Mystic, and the Mystic sells books.
Hello, dear adventurer. Have you...
Now, these books are based solely on what you've collected. So basically, when you run around in the world and you collect lore books, once you have collected all the lore books for a particular group of lore books, you can come to a mystic, doesn't matter which one, any mystic in any city, and buy that group. So as you can see, because this is my main, so she's collected quite a few, and the goal is all of them actually for me, because I love books in real life. So they are readable, and you can place them in your home, and I'm actually going to do that. So I'm going to pick one of these